Hello everyone, I'm Jason the Applewotzit, and I'm a McKenzie friend with over 10 years of dragging people out of the swamp that is the family courts. And if you're new here, welcome. Welcome to the only place that you'll hear the truth about CAFCASS without it being sugar-coated like a donut in a brothel. Let's talk about parental alienation. Well, as CAFCASS preferred to call it these days, those complex relational dynamics we'd rather not get involved in because, let's face it, they're messy and we're terrified of being sued. See, CAFCASS, throughout their child impact assessment framework in 2018, right? And everyone in the legal world went, ooh, shiny, because it sounded official and clever. Like they'd cracked the Da Vinci Code of contact disputes. Fast forward to 2023, and CAFCASS released new practice guidance, working with children and families practice guidance. And I'll give them credit, they've gone all in on trauma-informed practice, which is basically a fancy way of saying we're going to believe everything the child says, no matter how bonkers it sounds, and not question how it got into the head in the first place. They talk about the child's voice like it's Moses coming down from the mountain with tablets. But here's the problem, and here's the big problem. Sometimes the child's voice has been stitched by an alienating parent who's been drip feeding them poisons for months. Let's be honest, CAFCASS don't know how parental alienation works. They've never experienced it, or maybe they have. They're not that thick. They choose to be. They choose not to see it. Why? Because it's uncomfortable, politically loaded, and brace yourselves, most CAFCASS officers are women, lovely, caring professionals with an unconscious bias that will tilt towards mum. There, I said it. Call Ofcom if you're offended. Please do. They genuinely believe that even if a mother's running a full psychological warfare campaign, she's still somehow the safe base. Like the child's strapped to her uterus for life. Don't believe me? Watch this. Little Johnny's 7. Won't see dad, the resident parent. Usually mum says, I'm doing everything I can, Jason. I've got therapy lined up. I've bought him a Build-A-Bear in Daddy's image. I'm playing Daddy's favourite Coldplay songs around the house, but little Johnny's traumatised. He cries whenever I mention Dad. We have to go at Johnny's pace. And CAFCASS goes, oh my God, poor little Johnny. Attachment issues, separation anxiety. Let's delay contact. Let's keep things safe. Trauma-informed, innit? And I'm sitting there thinking, trauma-informed my arse. The only trauma here is the child's going to grow up believing that dad's a serial killer because mum's been telling bedtime stories that would make even Stephen King wet his bed. Meanwhile, the new CAFCASS guidance says officers should keep an open mind to all hypotheses. Open mind, please. Come on now. Their mind's about as open as a nun's nightie. And here's the real hypothesis. Mum, good. Dad, bad. Don't push mum too hard because trauma. Now, let me be crystal clear. I'm not saving mothers. I'm not saying mothers don't suffer losing their kids. Of course they do. I've been there as a dad. It's like living with a hole in your chest. And I can only imagine how much worse it feels for a woman who's carried that child, felt them kick, and then can't tuck them in at bed at night. I get it, but that's not the point. The point is, alienation is real. And CAFCASS's new approach actually makes it easier for alienating parents. They've handed them the ready-made script. My child is traumatized. We must go at their pace. And CAFCASS nods along like a little Churchill, the dog, on the back shelf of a car, of a Vauxhall Astra. And here's the bit that they refuse to talk about. Johnny goes to school fine. He's laughing with his mates, winning the sack race, trading Pokemon cards. He's not traumatized. He's traumatized specifically about Dad. And why? Because he's been told Daddy's a monster. But ask CAFCASS to connect those dots, and they suddenly go cross-eyed, like the elephant in the room that no one wants to talk about. Even their precious 2023 guidance says children may resist contact for multiple reasons. Yeah, like being brainwashed by one parent against the other. But mention parental alienation and CAFCASS suddenly look at you like you've been farted in an elevator. Because if they admit alienation exists, they have to admit the courts have been failing to protect kids for decades. And that's bad PR. Let me put it into police terms, since that's my default mode. It's like catching a burglar with a sack of silverware. And he goes, yeah, I was just checking if the family was okay. And instead of arresting him, police go, bloody hero, mate, carry on. Just crack on. That's how CAFCASS deal with alienating parents. They're standing there with fingerprints all over the alienation. And CAFCASS saying, thanks for being a good parent. We'll tell the judge you're fully cooperative. Meanwhile, the so-called good enough parent is orchestrating a silent genocide of the child's relationship with their other parents. And here's the other problem. Here's the other problem, actually. CAFCASS keeps saying we can't force a child to go. What? Okay. But we can force the kids to do loads of other stuff for their welfare, right? Eat vegetables, go to school, get jabs, clean their bloody teeth. But apparently, seeing a loving parent is where we draw the line. I've worked with parents who haven't seen their kids in over 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, because CAFCASS insisted on going at the child's pace. Meanwhile, that child's pace is set entirely by the parent whispering horror stories into their ear. Why can no one see this? And don't even get me started on those wishes and feelings. These wishes and feelings interviews, right, ready? The alienating parent might as well be sitting behind the child holding up the cards that say, Daddy shouts, Daddy hits, Daddy kills puppies. And CAFCASS, they write it all down like it's gospel truth. And look, I'm a dad. I know how deep the wound goes. You spend every second wondering, are they okay? Do they miss me? Do they hate me? And CAFCASS just keep feeding you, well, they said they don't want to see you right now. Trauma-informed, you know. Fucking CAFCASS officer wouldn't even know what trauma-informed means. In fact, most of them shouldn't even be working in that role. And all you want to scream is, they're bloody 7 years old, or they're 4 years old. They don't have a fucking mind. They also said they want to be a fucking unicorn and live on the moon. We're going to respect that too? So here's the bottom line, folks, here's the bottom line. Right? CAFCASS's shiny framework and trauma talk sounds great in seminars, but out here in the real world, it's leaving kids emotionally abused, parents devastated, and cases dragging on until the bank account's emptier than a fucking Weatherspoons at sunrise. So if you're in this mess, don't sit quietly waiting for CAFCASS to save the day. They won't. They fucking won't. They're too busy. They're too busy holding hypothesis. Call me, I'm Jason Appleyard. I've lived it, I've helped countless parents fight it. And I'm not afraid to call the bullshit when I see it, even if it's dressed up as in a PowerPoint deck marked trauma-informed practice. Because the real trauma is kids thinking, or growing up thinking, one of their parents doesn't love them. And the longer we let CAFCASS tippy-toe around that fucking bullshit, the more kids we're losing. And that, my friends, is no bloody joke.